Hello, everyone, and very welcome to this episode of Beyond Binary. And today I have the privilege of welcoming a truly inspiring leader, Ms. Ritu G. Chopra. And Ms. Ritu is a technology leader, entrepreneur, executive coach, and international speaker who has witnessed the IT sector's journey from Y2K to artificial intelligence. And with over 2 decades of experience solving complex challenges for Fortune 500 companies, she now dedicates her work to empowering teams, bridging the gap between IT and business, and mentoring the next generation of leaders. And she's also a Six Sigma Green Belt certified and Black Belt trained. Ms. Ritu is a founder and CEO of Coaches Oasis, president of Chopra Management Services, and the author of multiple books, including Art of Life, Mastering Life, and Women Leadership in the 21st Century. And with her upcoming title, Magic in Mindfulness. And beyond her professional success, Miss Ritu brings passion, humility, and creativity to everything she does, encouraging leaders to engage both their heads and hearts in clarity and creation. So, thank you, Miss Ritu, for joining us today. And I'm truly honored to have you here. And I can't wait to dive into your journey and insights with our listeners.
Thank you, Rupa. Thank you for giving me this platform to engage with your audiences, and I'm happy to be here.
Great. So, Miss Ritu, I'd love to start with your writing journey. What inspired you to write Mastering Life, and why do you feel it is important for us to really master our own lives in today's fast changing world?
Well, thank you for asking this question. So I go back to decades ago. I went through a series of adverse circumstances in life. You could go down or you can lift yourself up. And having that uh, unpleasant experiences, so to say, chose to lift myself up without any support of any kind. It was very challenging time. At the same time, I happened to have an auto accident where I was going through physical pain as well as the emotional uh, burdens that I was thrown into. So for myself, I gravitated to spirituality. And I started looking into why these kinds of things happen to us. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't harm anyone. I didn't, um, why? And all those whys led to those questioning on my journey into understanding the meanings of life. As a lifelong student, I didn't know the answers. I didn't have the answers. I didn't have proper questions. So, in my introduction of my book in Mastering Life, my basic understanding at the time, as much as I could make sense, was to, as a Kshatriya, you do your karma, right? So, I am doing the right thing and I want to continue doing the right thing, but I don't want to be engaged in being busy doing something. I want to lead myself to the right path. So, my in my Mastering Life, I quote in the introduction of my book, I quote, and I'm going to read that. Uh, of all the battles I have faced, I don't know how many I have won and how many I have lost. What I remember that I fought all of them with all my strength. I found that strength not by giving up and not giving in when facing adversity. So that was very inspiring. The inner strength that you need is another quote that I share, that we are stronger in broken pieces. And that's from the same book.
Right.
So that kind of put me on the trajectory to not just succeed professionally among the chaos, of life and the business landscape. If you look at the turn of the century, the technology was new, and I found myself in technology space, and things were changing fast.
Yeah.
My ability to not only just manage the processes and people, but also understand them and understand them to a level where you bring in a good contribution. That's really set the stage for me that I was placed in uh, high stake confidential projects in a company. And so I worked with C-suite. So that was like I, with a calm, cool head, being able to discern, being able to see things clearly. And I think that all that I dedicate to my um, a mindset switch to spirituality and looking into doing your duty the right way, whatever that may appear at the moment. Little I know, it was like looking back, I could connect the dots, right? At that time, you are in action, you are in motion, but you need to move. In a crossroads, you have to choose the right one and whatever your instincts lead you. So when you are at a crossroad and you're to inspire yourself which way you have to go. And that comes in when you are centered in yourself. I hope I answered your question.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ritu ma'am, for sharing your journey. And I love the quote, and I'm sure many of the audiences can resonate with this, that we are stronger in broken pieces, and transforming your pain into power and coming up with this book so that you can help millions of people through your journey and through your insights and wisdom. I think that's really very empowering, and giving a lot of strength to many people, not only women but also men going through the challenges. I think those pearls of wisdom is really going to help um, many
Thank
people
you.
today. Yeah. So, Ritu ma'am, also for your book, Women Leadership in the 21st Century is so timely. And what do you think women leadership is not just important, but essential for the society we are building today?
Women leadership is extremely important. I am not coming from a place of competition. I am coming from a place of collaboration. Women today make 50% of the workforce. From agriculture to aerospace, we are everywhere. We have made great contribution to our nation's GDP, to our families' prosperity, to our societies, and women have the buying power collectively today on the planet about 30 plus trillion dollars, right? So that's the power we hold today. However, the disparity in equal rights, humanities, fair women, girls' education, giving them enough respect and dignity is still a huge challenge. So while as women, we are the givers of life, we are the nurturers, and in 21st century, do we have to prove ourselves to ask for the dignity?
Uh,
No, right? This mindset of that we are here and we're not going back. We have done the sacrifices for centuries, and it's not about competition or putting each other down or claiming that who is right, who is wrong. We are in 21st century, we are in such a fragmented, chaotic world that everyone's contribution is equal. I always said, like in this book, 21st Women Leadership book, I quote that we as mothers, givers of life, we give birth to boys and girls. They grow up to be men and women. We're part of the family unit. We're part of the society. We're part of the workplace. Things have changed to be recognized, our contribution. For this book, went back into researching 200 years of history around global history of women contribution, the trailblazer women, what they have suffered, what they have gone through. So our youngest generation today, born in this world, um, they must know that they are standing on the shoulders of the giant. The
Absolutely.
platform they are standing so they can stretch their wings and fly has been created by the sacrifice of thousands of women over time. And that needs to be acknowledged. So I want to put out that message for everyone, men, women of all generation. In this century, our challenges are unique. We need everybody's contribution. And the leadership here in this book, when I started this book after COVID pandemic lockdowns, I saw women who were at the high level of careers, if they were found themselves out of workplace, out of workforce, um, a year later, it was easier for men to go back into workplace than it was for women. And many women, I'm connected with very powerful women around the world, and many women, they were going into hiding. I'll take early retirement. I'll do this. Financially, I'll move to a different location with a less cost of living and I'll be okay. I saw it differently. I saw this wonderful talent that this person has of decades. This needs to be preserved to mentor others. So my idea here for women leadership is very holistic approach to leadership. You do not need a corporate or political title to be leaders. We have an obligation for younger generation. We have given them challenges to face. We need to mentor them.
That,
That's where I'm coming from, Rupa, in this book in women leadership in 21st century. Women have the ability and the power to bring everyone to the table. And my call to action is to bring those women who have the ability to call everyone to the table, have a place at the table, have those dialogues and discussion, mentor our young generation of leaders, because believe it or not, like it or not, the young people who are growing up with technology, with less of an attention span, with less of a mentoring, um, they are going to be our leaders tomorrow. And
ab-
we will be living through that period. It is our duty. It's our duty to raise them with this conscious leadership skills, mentor them, not just give them challenges to deal with.
Absolutely. That's really great. Thank you for sharing, Ms. Ritu. And I would also like to ask you from your perspective, what are some of the unique strength women bring to leadership?
Oh, I love to. That's a topic so near and dear to my heart. So I'm going to share a quote from the book, and that answers it quite a bit. So I quote, "Women must bring their own light and shine their word.
Mm.
For us to shine the light, we need to come out of darkness.
Wow.
We remain either by our generational conditioning, limited opportunities, traditions, or social norms. In this fast race to be treated equally, many of us operate from blind spots. We don't know what we don't know. What we must learn is own our power. Power as a giver of life, power of nurturing generosity that resides within us to give before we receive. So women need to lead with confidence, and I have found here in Northeast USA, where in New York region where I live and worked for decades. So I have seen that at every stage in women's life, we are operating from blind spots. So I think this is important for women to be leader, either as a corporate leader, political leader, or leader by action.
Yes.
It's very important for us to understand our power and the ability to communicate, to collaborate, not compete.
Absolutely. Yes. So it's the ability to communicate, collaborate, and to see light in themselves and coming out of darkness. And I think that's something that they can bring to the table. And so first of all, believing in themselves is that's the most important thing for women today in the leadership. Right.
Yes,
Amazing.
men by their nature and by their generational mindset training, even if they don't really sit down and teach their sons or young men or employees, you act this way, it's absorbed out of their behavior. The other people are absorbing that, and they themselves, I interviewed hundreds of people, men and women. And we had such lively conversation where they open up, right? They said, I watched my mother go through this. I watched my sister or my aunt. And they're very open. Now, when they look back, they're not trying to differentiate or disrespect. It's just embedded. And this is just like being on an autopilot, sort
Yes.
of behavior, that this is what women do. This is what men do. We are in 21st century. A integrated word, and I talk about a lot, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Never in the history of human uh, life this phrase has become so important for us to understand the depth of it as it is now, because we are connected with technology. People have more Facebook friends than they have real friends, right? We know that. So we connect instantly with a small little device in the palms of our hand. That's the power we have. We communicate even if we don't speak their language. We are communicating through emojis,
Yes.
right? Though we are using symbols to express our emotions or our responses, and we're connecting. And the more I could go into that we as human family, the need today in 21st century, we can look at the chaos around the world. There are, I think, as going back in March of this year, at United Nations, I was participating as a delegate. So I heard that I was blown away. I heard from a speaker, an international president of an organization, saying that there are 108 active wars on the planet. This is back in March of 25. I don't think that the wars have finished. They're still on. Would Since are there more? I don't know. But coming from the source who presented, my take was that this person has enough research to come in at the platform of United Nations and say that. And do I need to do more research on whether it's true or not? No. I take that enough chaos. Look at when men are taken to the wars, the women and young children are left behind. This is a casualty humanity.
Casualty
And we
humanity.
talk about doing great things and going to other planets and stuff like that. The condition of our own planet, the ocean pollution, I could go on and on and on. There is enough for us to align ourselves with a cause, do something. Do something as little as it could be, and not be uh, spectator on the sidelines.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Ritu ma'am, for your insights. And I know you have mentored so many women into leadership roles, and especially in tech and AI. And what mindset shift do you think are most critical for women to thrive in these male dominated industries? And could you also share a success story of a woman you coached who really embodied these shifts?
Uh, Thank you. This is very important for not just women, but also men, right? So each generation brings their own traits. So when we look at Gen Zers, there is less of a gender gap.
Mm.
But you go to the baby boomer generation, their mindset about roles, responsibilities, very different, right? So where I say, where we stand, forget where we came from, come back to into the today's world where we stand and look at it how we have six generation in a workplace today, each generation with a different mindset. How do you come together with a common goal?
Right.
Right? So there is a lot of mentoring is needed, a lot of open dialogues, conversations are needed, not just pushing the role and responsibility into it. So mindset shift starts from the top.
Right.
If you compress the doer into that their little cubicle and their little role, there is no mind shift happening. None. It
Absolutely.
has to come from the top. Because these people in the cubicle today are going to be on a leadership roles tomorrow. What kind of leaders you are creating by suppressing them? And especially for those who are in, find themselves and they said, oh, this is my job is this, and this is all I do. And everything else, the person next to me, is not my job. We need to change our perception about the role I am playing, how it's impacting the person sitting next to me. As simple as it is, that shift can lead to another shift. Open dialogue, have that collaborative conversation, and that is the management needs to get involved into it. So with my book 20 women leadership in 21st century, so I have the mastermind programs that are designed for those corporate scenarios where there's a multiple generation, and women today, the younger generation of women are outpacing young men into their higher education commitment and a quality they bring it to their careers. So that has changed. And the impact is on their family life, right? So we need to understand all parts of it, not just one.
Absolutely. And Ritu ma'am, do you believe women can succeed completely on their own, or do you think collaboration and support networks play a bigger role than we often admit?
That's a very important question. That can women succeed on their own? I think we have the ability to be successful, but we cannot succeed on our own.
Right.
Because we are part of a integrated society. We need everyone. Whatever success means to us, either we are marketing a product or a service or in a job, or whatever our definition of the success is, either in terms of money, power, fame, or just a contribution behind the scenes, working for nonprofits, starting industries. However, one defines their own success metrics, we cannot succeed. Men cannot succeed by themselves. It's
Yes.
a contribution of all, right? So we need to um, look at from the different perspective of from a, here is the role I am playing, and this is my definition of how I see my success, myself successful in accomplishing X. In that accomplishing X, the contribution that's coming from my tech team, my accounting team, my legal team, my business team, my supporters, and my customers. What do I need to be aware of? How I am showing up for them and how they are showing up for me. And that is true success. So either it's men or women, they have the ability to, but we need collective effort to be successful. So that's my take, is I am supporting the ideas of, or I am initiating those ideas of collaborative communication, collaborative effort. And that's what's needed. The success goes to everyone.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Rita ma'am. And you often talk about entrepreneurship challenges in the 21st century. So, from your experience, what do you see as the biggest challenge right now? And also the biggest opportunities?
Uh,
And yeah,
the biggest challenges today in entrepreneurship as a corporate landscape, um, the more and more goes in automation, the job growth, even though those buzzwords that come in, I'm not trying to go into the data. I am trying to talk about a uh, concept, idea, the trends. So many people find themselves out of workplace, the so-called 9 to 5 career they align with. They devote their life. It's more than 9 to 5. It's a lot of time goes into it. It impacts your family life when they are thrown out of the workplace because of the cuts, because of the shareholder value, before of the profits or whatever the focuses are. When they find themselves, the talent that they focused on was serving a job role, nothing else.
yes,
Especially for women as the givers of life at the age group when women are starting their families, raising the young kids is very difficult. The stress takes on the family, right? So, a women entrepreneurship is going to really um, help communities, help families' income, but we need to train them for it so they can keep the pace with what they are creating as an entrepreneur, to not only the dual role that they play for raising a young family, being the strength of the family, bringing everyone to the table, and then being able to contribute to the family income or the GDP or the growth. And again, the women entrepreneurship is important because not only we should must train them, but also fund them. And that's another challenge, that women don't get funding. And men with the same experience, with the same education, would get funding to be capital funds or whatever without much obstacles. For women, it is extremely difficult, where we are asking them to do double role and not giving them support. Those are the challenges. We need to look at them. We need to say that, okay, she is not only raising a family, and when she is stressed out, that impacts the growth of the children. She would be a good example and a role model by doing multiple duties. Why to restrict her when women prove themselves over and over? What else we need to do to prove ourselves?
yes.
Those are the mindset challenges, I think, where everyone needs to take a look at. Support those ideas.
So, what do you think, Ritu ma'am, that why is it that, women even doing twice as work or the similar work than men, why are they not being compensated uh, similarly, or why they are not getting funded while the male counterparts are getting funded very easily? So what what is the challenge over here? I mean, Why is it happening?
This is a power dynamics issue. For centuries, men had the financial power, but at that time, women stayed home. One person's income could support the family. In today's world, one income cannot. Women contribute into the prosperity of the family. The roles have changed. Women are highly educated. Women have the ability and are capable, but men's mindset has not changed. That's a generational mindset where I'm not here accusing them. I am inviting them to the conversation as women's role have changed, so we need to acknowledge that. Women are no longer stay-home moms. They are still doing that on the side, and they give their best to take care of your household responsibilities. But at the same time, look at the capability. Another thing is that because men by nature had held that role, for them to keep on subconsciously hold on to that is another issue, right? Whereas the younger generation, Gen Zers, millennials and youngers, there's less and less of that power dynamics. There's more of an acceptance, more of sharing of the responsibilities at home, sharing and understanding each other's preferences, etc. So it's seen as a different generation play a role, but subliminally, a lot of those things are into the hands of decision makers where they don't see that.
Right. So, and if you look at 5 to 10 years ahead, what qualities do you think will define truly successful women leaders in an AI-driven workplace?
Oh, this is very important. So in 5 to 10 years, so the big question is out of workforce, right? Very ethical and sincere work that they have done for decades to the same organizations, making organizations successful. And as we are coming into the 4IR, the fourth industrial revolution, the gig economy, the entrepreneurship, and a global village, um, that's totally changed from 20 years. So in next 5 to 10 years, as AI is shaping the world, AI is evolving. It's evolving at a faster pace to even give us a breathing room to even think of it. If I were to adopt how and where, we are not getting that chance. That's where I invite the leaders uh, and have those conversations. You have the funding to invest into AI for what? Right? So have that pause, take a pause, strategize, understand, have the uh, planet people first and then profit later, because the profit would sustain. You're not going to disrupt. And my question that I am putting it out there for listeners. So if you replace jobs with AI, and those jobs that they're gone, they don't have a disposable income to buy your products and services. What do you expect? Because their limited funds would be on their basic needs first. If you're
I think
throwing them
that's,
out of workplace, what do
yes,
you expect? Have you thought of it? That's
absolutely.
my conscious question.
That's amazing. Thank you, Ritu ma'am. And for today's emerging leaders, what's one practical step that they can take now to prepare for the future?
I think just to limit to practical steps, so each individual have to look at their his and her own space place where they are. If you're close to retirement, You have the talent, and how can you give back in mentoring younger generation? Because AI cannot mentor. Can AI do some automation work for you? Yes. Can AI uh, have reduce your time in delivering the result? Yes. Have you created those types of strong leaders for tomorrow who would be leading us when we are in our old age? We would still see them. If you haven't prepared them, I talk about in this book about the um, good old leadership rules of 1950s and 70s that, the golden rules. They don't apply today. They did at that time. There's very little out of that playbook we can take and apply today. The younger generation who has grown up with technology into AI, into integrated global village, has inherited multiple challenges the world is facing, including 100 plus wars on the planet. Those golden rules do not apply today. So we need to change our approach to leadership. We need leaders in every aspects of society and at every intersection of society to do their little part and become part of that integrated economy.
Amazing. Thank you, Ms. Ritu. Thank you for joining me today. And it's been such a joy and an absolute honor to have you on the podcast. And the way you have shared your journey, your lessons, and your passion for helping women step into leadership has been truly inspiring. And I know our listeners will walk away with not just ideas, but also the confidence and encouragement to take action in their own lives. And so, for everyone tuning in, if you'd like to dive deeper into Miss Ritu's work, I encourage you to check out her books, Mastering Life and Women Leadership in the 21st Century, and keep an eye out for her upcoming release, Magic and Mindfulness. And you can also follow her journey through her coaching and speaking work. So, Ms. Ritu, I'm really grateful we've got this conversation, and I'm so glad you could share your wisdom with all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Rupa, for giving me this platform. I think we all need to work together. Set aside our egos, set aside our differences, come together and be part of this wonderful planet that we have and keep it that way.
Thank you. Thank you, Ritu. Bye.